Today on Metaphysical Mississippi, we discuss whether New Year's resolutions are the way to go, or is there a better option? Stay tuned to find out more. Welcome to Metaphysical Mississippi. Today we have Sherry here with me, of course, your host, Emily, and we're going to be discussing whether we should be setting New Year's resolutions or is there a better alternative? Hey, Sherry, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I know we're recording this right at the end of 2022, right after Christmas, and I still haven't really thought about the new year yet. I mean, it's there, but I'm still recovering from Christmas. How about you?
Yes. I'm excited for the new year though, and because I do this as part of my job, I have been thinking about the new year and the things coming up and what I want to get done.
Oh,
And my planners are always never far out of my arm reach so that I can plug in, and was just talking to your sister and was admiring her brand new planners for the new year.
she mentioned she was going to buy some. I need to buy some as
She
well.
has a whole system. She's on top of it. She's organized anyway, but she's just wanting to be ready. Me too. Me too.
Oh. So I guess a planner. I don't have a planner. I have several calendars on Google, on different Google accounts, but none of them are cohesively connected into, one main. So I guess one of the first things I need to do for the new year is, for me, is to set a goal of getting organized and give myself a planner.
Well, what I love about them, and the one I have is, you have the month at a glance, and it's divided by that. So you can flip ahead, you can look at the whole year, or you can look at 1 month at a time, or you can even look at 1 week at a time, and where it's broken down to morning, afternoon, and evening. And that one, as I'm planning my week, I can see when I have little holes of opportunity to where I could schedule an appointment with someone, or skedaddle early, go to lunch, or do whatever. So I love it because it's visual. I can see it. I can put my eyes on it.
I wonder if also is the control of your time, is it easier to do it on a handwritten, book that tangibly you could hold and look, compared to,
A
this
smartphone?
right here,
Well,
or
no,
that
they
right
both work.
there?
A computer?
No, they both work. I was a long time always used Franklin Covey planners back in the day, and 20 something years or more, and those things were expensive, and you bought the refills every year, and it was just how you did your life. Well, my daughter came along and said, Mama, that's just so old school. You need your phone. You're going to do it that way. And so I was like, okay, well, I could try that. And so I did, but I didn't give up my, so I tried the phone, but I didn't give up my planner just yet. So I went a whole year doing both, which meant double duty. But, I was starting to get used to it. By the second year, I think I still bought a planner because I'd been doing it for 20 something years. That's what you did every year. But I think almost everything was in that phone. And if that is how you do it, that's fine, if that works for you. And I had it going along. I was rocking, doing it. And then one day, maybe a year or two later after that, my daughter said, Hey, I'm at Michael's. Why don't you meet me here? So I went up there and met her, and she wanted me to see these really cute little planners they had with little rings, and you can like
nice.
pop the pages in or out, like you can add extra pieces and add them, take them, put them in. So it was like, oh, look at these. I'm like, girl, you're the one that made me give up my paper planner to go all digital. So that was about, let's see, I think I just bought my fourth one, and I save them. I go back and I look and I use them for historical stuff and for planning for the new year and
Yeah.
tracking down old clients. But anyway, so I'm back and I like this. The only bad thing is when it gets to be this time of year, you're carrying around two of these big babies and they're not super light. So I actually bought a backpack just to haul them because for at least 6 weeks, I've been using them both. What's happening now and what's coming in the near future. If I left one at home, it was always the wrong one. So, you can do both. It's whatever works for you. And that's the secret. For anybody, no matter what it is, you have to find the process and the whatever it is that works for you and your life and your schedule.
Right.
And even if you've never done it before, you can get used to certain things and adapt it. But again, if you're not going to do it, why don't even bother? If you don't like it and it doesn't fit into your schedule, then
Yeah. My mom used to have this, well, she'd have a notebook, she would call it her brain. And she would write down everything. So it was modeled for me to kind of do that. But right now I just write jibber jabber in a little notebook, but I don't have any dates or times or anything like that in there.
if you want to plan for the future and you want to give yourself like a time limit to get things done, a calendar and having a planner is instrumental because you want to see when's the accomplished date supposed to be and when are you like, oh my gosh, I'm a quarter of the way there and I haven't done the first thing yet. Or when you want to get to halfway and you're not quite halfway or you're a little better than halfway, you can compliment yourself. So you can, it helps you to stay on track and accomplish things. So for goal setting or planning or, this time of year, people wanting to set resolutions, depending on what those are, it might be helpful if you did that and planned ahead for the future. So setting some goals.
Yes. I've never been a huge resolution person. But I have occasionally set goals. Usually it's in the lose weight category or but now it is changing into more of a setting career goals for myself or that kind of thing where it's I feel like if I get my goal of my career life under control, then maybe I can get my weight, my finances, all the other will just fall into place. So sometimes I guess it can be sort of you can feel kind of scattered. Where do you start first? Do you focus on career? Or do you look 5 years ahead? Do you think your career is dependent on, well, I need to lose weight before, I put myself out there. Where do you start? Because there's like so many things. And I know that you have a workshop coming up.
I do.
And a vision board workshop, which I really like that a lot more than just New Year's resolutions, but actual tangible ways to, all of these things that we want to do. Yes, there you go. Look, you framed it.
I did because, so that I set it out front different days or before yoga class.
Yes.
People can see it. So there's
January 28th and February 11th. There's 2 dates you can choose from, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Limited seating. So they need to contact you, text you at 601-503-5010.
When they leave, they'll have a vision board and they'll have a guided meditation that they can take with them. I'm a hypnotherapist, so have have a special, my vision board workshop. We do several hypnosis, meditation sessions, preparing, like you were saying, how do you know what to do first?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so I have some exercises that we do to help you drill it down. Because the problem with vision boards is people will sometimes do a vision board and like they'll put like you were just saying, career, family, finances, weight and health and exercise and education and like, okay, if you could do 19 things all at one time, you'd have started already. The problem with that is it's a little lofty to start there. So being specific, I'm just going to show this one real quick, just for like, if you can just see it. This is, well, this is for weight, for eating healthy. We don't talk about loss. We just talk healthy eating, healthy lifestyle, just changing the whole way you think about it. But you have to have a plan.
Right.
Like, what is it? What is your goal? But it like, so this is a vision board for a single subject. Now, you can have more than one vision board. So I like these little ones because you can put, that's just a one-shot deal on there.
Right.
I had another one because I wanted to be a traveler. So I went with one thing and it was all travel related.
Oh, nice.
That's very specific when you know. So the words and the pictures are all focused on that one thing. But because we have multiple things in our life, we have to do multiple things. Well, this one, I had 3 jobs at the time. So this one had all 3 jobs on it.
Gotcha.
So, but the cool thing is I accomplished single thing on that board.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was gonna guess I show these later, but I mean, they're just, some things are little things and some things are big things, but they, yeah, I got all these in here. Anyway, you have to focus though. So I give exercises so that people can drill it down. There's an acronym for setting goals. They call them, setting SMART goals, SMART. So they have to be S, they're specific. M, so specific, very specific. Don't just say, oh, I want to lose weight, or, oh, I'm going to start exercising, or, I am just going to be putting in more hours at work and do some extra projects. Be specific. Like, what is it specifically you're going to do? And what is your time limit that you're going to have it done in? So being specific. M is measurable. How do you know when you achieved it? If you just say, I'm going to start an exercise program. So if you did it for a week, does that mean you've done it? Is it a month? Were you looking for like to drop a clothing size or be able to do a 5K or something? Like, measurable. It's SMA, attainable. It has to be realistic to be able to say, hey, I'm gonna run the Boston Marathon when you can't even do a 5K yet. That's a little lofty. So let's see, SMA, attainable, R, realistic. So realistic, attainable, realistic, something that does make sense. You're not going to finish college, if that was your goal, to finally take those, whatever, in 6 months. If you have to take 24 hours covered, you just can't do that physically fast enough. There's not enough hours in a day. And then the last one is time bound, T. So SMART. I'm glad I remembered that. I didn't even have cheat notes on that.
Oh, I bet you did too. It's great.
Yeah, because I had another little thing I wanted to talk about this, because it doesn't matter what program you use, who you sign up with. It's just that you need to, it's helpful to do it in a group, because then there's someone to hold you accountable. That's why I do my group, vision board groups. And we take pictures of everybody at the end and pictures of their boards, and we follow up. I have a picture of the one where your sister was in it, and there's only one person I cannot contact that was in the picture. We don't know where she is or how to reach her. One of these days we're going to find her, but until then, But we looked through at the pictures of everybody else on there, and it's been maybe 3 years since these boards were done, maybe. And everybody has already achieved what was on their board.
Wow. Wow. It's almost like when you petition or you pray or well, you pray about something, you need to ask for it, and kind of like doing these vision boards, you're kind of like putting it out
Setting-
there.
You are asking for it.
Setting the intention of putting it out there.
Well, the vision boards just give it a visual, and it just actually just becomes an anchor for you. And in the process of making the board, selecting the pictures, selecting the words, assembling a design pattern to it, and each of those things means something very specific to you. My board wouldn't necessarily motivate you to do a thing, but mine, I cut that out and I knew why it got me and why I wanted it. And so it's a personal, so wherever you put it in your house, you don't have to specifically like look at it. The only rule is you should see it twice a day. Just put it somewhere. I've had people say they hung it in their living room, so they saw it multiple times. I always stick mine, because I always have one going. I stick mine in my closet because I have a big walk-in closet and I dress in there every morning and every evening. That's my twice a day. And where it is on that shelf, it's not like I walk in and specifically look at it, but it's like always there twice a day. And subconsciously, you're picking up on it. So the things that are on that board and the things you thought about your futures, there's always a little ding, just a little reminder each day. And, they work.
Ooh, and the actual getting an image and cutting it out and putting it and placing it. Oh, that really just
well, and I do that.
reinforces it.
Well, and I do it through an exercise. I have you do an exercise where you're selecting pictures in a magazine, and all your pictures don't have to come from a magazine. I always have everyone, once they sign up for the class, they're going to get a list of instructions to actually start preparing, because some people already know what's going to go on that board, or they know at least one thing they want on their board, because what they really want to do is, so there's like one primary strong something, but there's always some other stuff, without getting too bogged down or too many details. Keeping the board down to, and a lot of people say, oh, they do a vision board for a year. Somebody told me the other day, they said, yeah, they put theirs up in the closet and they found it. It was 5 years ago. And they pulled it out, and darn it, they had done everything on that board from 5 years ago, when they put it down.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think that's great. However, did they do everything on that board from 5 years ago, like 4 years ago, like they did it in a year? Well, then in that time, they could have done 4 more boards.
Right.
So truly you need a fresh one at least once a year, or anytime you have an immediate goal of something you want to do. I put it on a board. It helps me. So, but we're not everybody's visual, but I'll tell you, on the boards, there are pictures and words, right? So there's pictures and words, and they all mean different things to you. Well, what I've been doing is, in my private sessions with people, I take their board and I write them a specific meditation for achieving what's on that board. And I give them the recording so that they can listen to it anytime they need it, listen to it as they fall asleep. They tell me how they want to use it, and that's how I create it for them. And one of my clients, I didn't even notice while she was doing it. I totally missed it. My bad. When she got completely done with hers, there were no pictures. There were only words.
Oh, wow.
I know. So that was what made me think. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay. And these words, though, were powerful enough for her to cut them out and paste them on. And so I thought, okay. What if I send her words back to her in a recording? So I incorporated them into a meditation that ended up being, I don't know, 15 minutes, 17 minutes long.
With-
Yeah. That
Ooh.
way you can have that one additional, any tool, anything you can use to help you stay on track. And I wanted to tell you the story about this guy. His name was Ivy Lee. And Ivy Lee was like well, he was a motivator and kind of like an efficiency expert, but he knew all about setting goals. And he went to, in 1918, he went to Charles Schwab. And at the time, he was president of Bethlehem Steel Company. And he told them that, well, he asked him, did he want to get an edge over his competition by making his people like focused and in super high efficiency, make a sharp team? And so Schwab said, okay, you know, like, I'm listening. What is it? So he tells them what he wants to do. And I'm going to show them how to get things done. He said, and all you have to do is give me 15 minutes with your executives, and I can prove I can do this for you. And so Schwab asked him, what's it going to cost me? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, you're not going to pay me a dime unless it works. In 3 months, I want you to send me a check for what you think it was worth. So Charles Schwab said, that's a good deal. So he did it. So it's called the Ivy Lee method. 15 minutes now with these executives, and he gave them 5 things to do. At the end of each workday, you have to write down the 6 most important things that you needed to accomplish tomorrow.
Oh.
Do not write down more than 6, period. 6 only. Then you take those 6 and you prioritize them in order of true importance. Like, really look at them and decide which one. What should go first? When you arrive the next day, you concentrate only on the first task. Like, don't even pay attention to the others. Only that one thing. So you focus on that one task and you work until it's finished. Then you move on to the second one. Then you approach the rest of your list in the same fashion. You do something, check it off, do something, check it off, do something, check it off. At the end of the day, you move any unfinished items to the list for tomorrow. So you have a new set of tasks. So if you have one thing left over, you put that on, it's tomorrow, and then the other 5. And you just repeat this every working day. So there's a book somewhere out. I think it's called The One Thing. And it's the same exact thing. What is the one thing you absolutely must accomplish today? But you have a list of 6 because you may knock out the first one, then the second and the third, and stuff happens and changes and stuff. So it sounds it's very simple and very straightforward. And it was something you could teach them in 15 minutes. They could do any other stuff they wanted to, but they had to stick to this. So after 3 months, Schwab was so delighted with the progress that he sent the man, Ivy Lee, a check for $25,000. In 1918, that's the equivalent of a $400 probably nowadays. That's a $450,000 check today, almost $500,000. That's how, but it was Bethlehem Steel, and he made them more efficient. So it works because you stay on track. And of course you have shifting priorities and stuff like that. But if you and what is it they were doing? Simple. It's a to-do list. I even showed you when I picked up my book and I did this thing. I pulled this thing out, right? That is what it is. It's a get it done list. And I can pull it out when my day is done. And if I need more notes. So, but at the end of the day, it's a tool, and I use it because I work off of a list. I have to admit, I am not always like 6 things on the list. The first one first day I put one of these in my book, there was about 15 things on there. However, I work, but there's something very gratifying with taking stuff off your list. So, resolutions, because we were talking about that. Resolutions are usually, it's stuff we know we have been needing to do. Usually it's a habit breaking thing. They want to quit smoking, lose weight, or other, finish school or whatever, but quitting smoking and losing weight are the top two, or start exercise programs.
Yeah.
So, so that's what I do. I help an awful lot of people to quit smoking. And I'm adding a couple of extra pieces to it because it, again, is a habit.
We're going to take a short break. Make sure to check out our website, metaphysicalms.com. Do you know we have a directory of services? Explore what the metaphysical community of Mississippi has to offer. You can find a category of interest and search by the keyword under search listings. Or you can glance through our business directory of services. And if you want to be added to our directory, simply go to submit a listing and then scroll down the page to find out what directory of metaphysical businesses and services memberships are available. Now back to the show. I was thinking about, I know as you've mentioned, and we've had a previous podcast where we've talked about your hypnotherapy services and the things that you're doing, and that, now you're in the life between lives and your past life regression step. But back to the hypnotherapy. How do people, does anybody get hypnotherapy to get out of debt?
Oh, yeah.
Stop spending, I can see stop spending money the wrong way. And
almost anything you want or need to do that you're trying to get yourself motivated to do, organized enough to do, focused on, being able to focus on it and get on it. Hypnosis will help. Anything you want to, because we're working with your subconscious, and it's, what do you really want? And I work with habits and triggers and anchors, and, we all have stuff. Anything you're wanting to improve on, you can. The secret to it being successful, is you have to really want to do it. So I have a rule. If I have a woman call me up and she said, hey, how much is it to quit smoking? And I tell her and how it works and all that. And she'll say, okay, I want to make an appointment for my husband. I always say, well, if you would just have him give me a call. And she'll say, no, I want to make, no, I don't make appointments for anybody ever. And if they can't convince me that they really want to quit, then I don't want to work with them for two reasons. I don't want to take their money and them not get what they paid for. Totally. Yeah. And the second thing is, I don't want them to go tell people that hypnosis doesn't work because they didn't want to quit to begin with. Right. I can't make you do anything you don't want to do. But if you really want something and you just need help, that I can do. Yeah. So, yeah. And really, you end up telling me how to help you do that. We figure it out. So that's why my sessions, like most hypnotherapists, charge by the hour. I just charge by the session because we're done when we're done. And I have to talk to you long enough to understand what it is you really want. Yeah. Because then that's what I feed back to you in your session. It's like, so what do you need help with? What does that look like? Describe to me. Like if this was all better, like if you didn't smoke, how would that change your life? I've had people say, that they wouldn't stink. Their clothes wouldn't stink. People wouldn't all of a sudden know, oh, they'd just gone out and had a cigarette. When you're a non-smoker and somebody's gone on a smoke break and come back, do you smell them? Yes, every time. Is it a pleasant smell? No. So some people just, that's how it looks. People will not do that, or their kids will tell them that they won't. I've had a lot of people, they want to set a good example for their kids. I had a veteran come home, a disabled veteran who actually was at Bethesda for quite some time in rehab. And when he came home, he had a 10-month-old son, And he said he didn't ever want his son to remember him as a smoker.
Oh,
And we stayed in touch. I would text him periodically and just see how it was going. And it was doing great. And he still was a non-smoker. And so his son would never remember him as one.
oh.
So everybody has their own reasons, for quitting. But it's got to be your reason, and you have to want to. I can't make you do something you don't want to do.
So, well, resolutions, goal setting, vision boards, all this is things that you yourself have control over. It's best not to try to set that goal for have people, I'm going to jump from hypnotherapy and go to goal setting. Have you ever done a vision board or a workshop with a group of people
Oh, yeah.
who want
Many.
the same goal? Is it
Oh,
like a
like a-
family? Like, we're gonna say we want to do, well, this is a good idea. Like, we want to go on a European vacation or go somewhere, so let's all get together and this is how we're going to goal set, how we're going to save the money, I'm
that would work. I haven't done that's a great idea. I love it. I love it. Now I need to go with it, Emily.
or go or let's get out of debt. We want to,
I will tell you that getting out of debt, the one that I did with your sister, all of us that were in the group were all part of like Soul Synergy. We were all in there at the time when we were all taking classes together, and we were getting certifications from Jill, from Alan, and we all wanted to be practitioners and have our own little space. And so me and Krista had the same goal on our boards. We wanted to be practitioners and have our own little space. And where am I talking to you from right now?
That's
Our
right.
own little space.
You
That's
do.
right. Also in the class was Sandy and Jessica. And they too were practitioners wanting their own little space. Sandy sold her house and moved to Starkville, and they opened up a space in Starkville.
Krista, I have not met her, but Krista has mentioned. I know who you're talking
And then there was another person there. They wanted to be a full-time psychic medium, and they are now with their own business, their own website, their own clientele. It's the side job because there's the day job still. So busy working mom, professional, and psychic medium. But everybody, and there's the one person on there also was a practitioner, but we don't know where they went. So we need to check in. We have to see if somebody knows how to find her. So I see if I can find a phone number for her somewhere. But
so
yeah,
so all had similar goals.
That's why I was bringing it up. We all had similar goals. So when I did the meditation sessions, it was directed at these group of people that had similar training, similar goals. And so I was able to focus in on it. And I think every one of us in the 3 years since then, and of course, Krista and I we didn't set a time limit on it. I guess we should have, but it took us probably a little over 2 years to accomplish ours, but still it turned out to be way more than we expected. We were looking for
just a
little office that we were going to move into. I mean, we considered moving into. Both office spaces in there together would fit in my office right now. They were both lifted, big enough for our Reiki table. And we decided she'd put a Reiki table in hers and a couple chairs. I'd have a desk and my recliner, but we could share. If I needed a Reiki table, I'd use her office, and she could use mine if she needed the desk or the chair. So we were going to share space because that's how small it was.
But an exciting thing though is sometimes when you just set that vision, it actually might be bigger than what you actually.
Yeah, because here we each have our own private office and we have a Reiki room that we share.
Right. That's right.
And a classroom. So it turned out it took a little longer, but it turned out way better. So I'm just as you can tell, I love resolutions. You don't have to wait until the new year to try to make some things happen and set goals for your life. You didn't come here for no reason. God doesn't make junk. You came here for a specific reason. So, and some of us are a little late bloomers. I didn't even, start this direction of my life until a little over 4 years ago. But I got busy, and I got that's all those vision boards and a few others are down here. I used all of those to help me get on there. And I took a lot of other, it's not like it's always a straight shot, but as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other and moving in the direction of your goals, you'll get there. One foot in front of the other. What's that thing? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yes. I find in my life, I say that it's when I hit 50 that I'm kind of like I've chipped away at it. Many years of things evolving into what where my journey is going, or what my purpose in this life is. Kind of, I've always just, it's those distractions, those as some people say, the 3D distractions, though. Sometimes
Well,
just
if you have
distract
your
yourself.
list and you have your board, life happens,
Yes.
and we do all get distracted, and that's okay as long as you keep coming back to center. You just keep coming back. It's like, okay, take care of this, now get back to it. If you consistently keep focusing on it, what you focus on will happen. It may take a little longer, but
There was something you had mentioned, and I wanted to circle back to it. Setting, when you mentioned setting the writing down the 6 things, I really think those who are entrepreneurial minded really needs that. Or in today's society, a lot of us have moved to the remote working and working from home. Oh my goodness.
that's hard. There's so many
That has
distractions.
really been the other distractions, just learning how to, like, when does your day actually end? Because with the smartphones that we have and the computers, and my desk is in my home, I don't know when to stop looking at that to-do list. Like, when does my day start and when does it end? I don't clock in and out. I just,
I have to tell you now. First thing I'll say, my disclaimer is I struggle with that too. Exactly like that. It's like I was late today because I stopped and answered a phone call and sat down and just so I am guilty of that. However, I will tell you, and I will brag for a minute. My daughter is a professional. She does work from home. She has a home office. When you walk in there, you don't know you're not in some big corporate office. It's an office. It's all business. Strictly business. She's got whiteboards, she's got to-do lists, she's got her desk, she does podcasts constantly, and she does trainings and webinars, and so she's got extra lighting and 3 screens and all that stuff. It's all business. She gets up at 4:30 every morning. That's just her. She's in bed usually at night, in bed by 8, but asleep by 8:30 or 9. Just whenever she goes to bed. But she's up at 4:30 every morning. She has more done by 8 o'clock in the morning than some people do all day. Because she gets up when no one else needs her for anything. So she gets up and knocks out. She eats her healthy breakfast. She does all her morning stuff, and last thing she'll do is she'll cruise through that coffee place that opens at 6:30 or whatever, and come back with her coffee. But she's out there at Walmart and anywhere that's open. She's working and doing stuff. Back home at her desk, does podcasts and all that other stuff all day. And then depending on when she started, she works 8 hours. Now, if there's a disaster, something going on, of course she stays over. But for the most part, she works at her desk from, I think she's more like 7 to 4. And
Yeah.
she doesn't get at 4 o'clock. Mentally, she clocks out and gets up and leaves her desk, and she doesn't go back in that room. She goes and spends her time with her family. She'll go cook. She loves to do hobbies and things like that. She paints, all kind of stuff. So she goes and does that better than anybody I've ever seen. So I know it can be done. I just am not. And her if she gets up, if she gets up, makes her lunch, she just cleans as she goes. So it's not like she has to stop and clean. They just fill the dishwasher. And at the end of the day, I think they run a cycle for all of them. They have their own little routine. They do, but she has a routine. She has boards, lists, to-do lists. I mean, she's the one that got me into this.
Yeah.
And taught me how to use it on my phone and made me attached to both of them now, so it can be done if you're organized, and truly if it's your choice to do that. I'm glad now I'm partially retired, so I'm on my own schedule, and I'm not going to sweat it. I already had to sweat it for too many years. I'm done.
Yes.
About one thing about setting a goal, whether it's a resolution or it's a goal on a vision board. Sometimes you think you want something or need something or can't live without something until you actually pursue it. Then all of a sudden you start pursuing it and you're like, wait, this is not at all what I thought this would be. So at that point in time, you decide, well, can I live with that? Or do I need to change course and redirect? And that's part of, finishing your goals and setting them too. Just because you put it on the board doesn't mean you have to finish it if it really isn't part of your, hopefully you did a better job and you knew what you needed to put on the board. But in case something turns out to not work for you, it's okay to let it go. So I've had a few of those, but then it's a conscious decision. And if you had never started pursuing it, you'd have never known. And you might have even been wishing you could still do it or have it when it makes no logical sense to do it. So you're able to get it completely out of your universe, let go of it, and focus on the real task at hand. So you're able.
That's really good.
Yeah. So you figure out what you truly want. And the exercises I do really do help you to dial it in. And because it's hard. I know. What is it? Whatever grade in 2nd grade, and then in 7th, they were always asking you what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever I used to say. I think I used to always say teacher, but anyway, but some kids in the class, even at a little age or whatever, they'd say fireman. I'm going to be a fireman, and lo and behold, they became a fireman when they grew up. Or they wanted to be in the army, or, because their father, grandfather, uncles and stuff, they knew what they wanted to do. Most of us aren't like that. I mean,
yeah.
And I have a lot of theories about why some people know, is there an inclination? Did you bring that with you into this life? Whatever. But without going there, you're trying to find what it is you want to do in this life. And you only got so many days and nights and weeks and months here. So if you're going to do it,
around the
get
sun.
on.
Yes.
I will tell you, I've done my vision board classes and I've had people in them that were in hospice because they're not gone yet. So what do you want to do before you leave? Well, what do you want to do before you leave? And that's when they start thinking about doing those, what do they call them? You get a grandchild.
Oh.
Where maybe a grandchild will interview their grandmother or grandfather and ask questions for a video.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Anyway, they do it to preserve.
Legacy.
Yes, legacy recordings and stuff. Yes, to capture it because, as older generations pass on, they take that with them. And nowadays, I know I thought about something the other day, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't ask. It was something about my grandmother's family. I'm like, I'm the oldest one left alive in that part of our family. There's no one for me to ask that I know of. I mean, there might be some far off distant cousins or something, I don't know, but the ones I know are all gone. And so once that's gone, it's gone. So, it doesn't matter the age of the person or how much longer they have on the planet. They are, get some stuff done. One of my hospice ladies wanted to go and do Disney with her grandkids. She'd never done that before. And she'd had come into some money. She was wondering if she should do that. When she did her board, she said, absolutely. So she took her whole family to Disney. And they were able to remember. Yeah. Yeah. While she still could go. Yeah. So anyway, but everybody has their own, there's no time to stop. It doesn't matter your age. So my mom was 45 years old, I think, when she went back to school and became a nurse. And I have a cousin, her husband, I think he'd been a banker, but he went back to school in his 40s, late 40s, and became an MD, doctor, and then worked into his 80s as a doctor. So it doesn't matter how old you are. If you decide to do something, if you decide it, and you really want it, nothing's going to stop you from achieving it. Yeah, you may end up like with him, with a doctor, you may end up with a $200,000 college debt when you're done. So hopefully you'll make enough money to pay for it. But there are ways, there's loans, there's grants, if you want something, you can get it, Yes. And you can work real hard and have good enough grades so people want to give you money to go get it. So there's lots of ways. You can agree to go work in some lesser populated area to earn money to pay for it. If you want something, you can have it. It's a decision. And that's what I do with hypnosis. So if people have made a decision, there is something they want to be able to fly on an airplane and not be afraid. Or afraid of water, driving over bridges. They want to stop chewing their nails, They want to stop getting triggered into anxious moments when people say or do something or refer to something or put them in a particular whatever. So, it's you can do anything you choose, what you set your mind to. But you have to decide to do it.
Yeah.
And I will ask you, so what does it look like? So if that were fixed, whatever it is that you want to be different, what does it look like? And how does that benefit you? Then and only then, once you have a clear vision of what it looks like, are you ready to go pursue it? Whether it's a resolution or it's just a goal, or if it's a plan, whatever you want to call it, you just have to have a clear vision of what that looks like and what the benefits are to you. I always ask that, especially people that are quitting smoking. What are the benefits? I have people calling me that are on oxygen that want to quit smoking. So, and their doctors are telling them they need to quit.
And sometimes I don't want to say out loud what it is I want to do because I want to beat myself up. Like, why have I not pursued it before this time?
Yeah, but you know what? No,
let me look at all the failures that I've had.
Okay, so words have power. You don't say failure. You just haven't accomplished it yet. It's your perspective on things. You haven't gotten to work on it yet. So you haven't failed. You just haven't worked on it yet. So what you ask yourself is when I'm going to get started. What date do I plan to start? What does my end possibility look like? I do have a program for that too. It's called Healthy You. And it has a weight loss component, or weight management is really what I like. Weight management. And because that's why it's called Healthy You. It's not just, it's what you eat. Are you powering up your body and giving your body the fuel it needs? Are you getting enough vitamins and minerals? If you're deficient in a particular vitamin or mineral, do you know that you are? So you can consciously eat the right thing. Are you getting enough water? So, and then is there anxiety? Are you getting enough sleep? Do you need a schedule? So I have this session, it's called Healthy You. Usually it's like the smoking cessation. It's always right at the first of the year. People are trying to like go get them.
Yes.
So it's 5 separate sessions and they all build on one another. So each session, like when we go to do it, at the end of it, like we work during the whole time, but at the end, because we talk, we do an exchange of, so I'm putting it together for you. At the end, I deliver your custom, session for you, talking to your subconscious and visualizing, helping you to visualize your end goals and what you're trying to, what that looks like, not trying, what the difference is going to look like. So you have your specialized one, and then on the next one, I bring up what we did on the first one. So I incorporate that. So maybe the second one we talk about just getting out and getting more sunshine, parking a little further from the building, taking the stairs at the office at least once a day. So either in the morning or the afternoon, you pick it, but once a day, you're going to take the stairs, little teeny tiny increments of things.
Yes.
So then when we do the session, we talk about the eating properly and choosing good solutions and whatever, how you were going to, what do they call it when you, meal prep, like you prepare your head so you don't have to think, you just grab it, eat, and go back to work or whatever. So that is another thing that my daughter does, meal prep, even though she works at home. She could go in there and cook or whatever. No, she just takes out her prepared stuff, and that's what they do that every Sunday. True story. Those people are more prepared. Like I said, I don't. It's not me, but I wish I was. It's not my focus right now.
It is right.
But anyway, so anyway, Healthy You it is just all about when you have multiple things you're trying to do, but it seems overwhelming. And you want to break it down and do it in small bite-sized pieces. What's that old thing? You could eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So I would never eat an elephant, but you can take on a big job. I don't know if you ever heard this story. It's so amazing. There was a woman that lived in Hattiesburg, and either she went or she sent her child to like USM, University of Southern Mississippi. And she just ironed clothes for a living. And after that point in time, when she didn't have somebody, she still donated to the college because she believed in it so much. And by the time she passed away, through ironing clothes, something like she had donated over $200,000 to the university during her lifetime.
Oh, so she ironed clothes to send her child to college and then continued to just iron or support the college. Wow.
So it doesn't matter what it is you're trying to do. If you get up and do it every single day consistently, you will get there. So what is it you want to do?
Yes.
What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? And then it's just a decision. You're just going to do it or not do it.
Yeah.
Like Yoda says, right? Do or do not. There is no try. You just do it or you don't. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite saying. I'm full of sayings. My mom used to give them to me, and they're all came from her, but that one. As soon as I heard Yoda utter those words, oh, yes.
We're going to take a final break. Did you know that we have an events calendar as well as an area yoga class calendar on metaphysicalms.com? They both can be found by clicking the top menu. If you're a practitioner and would like to submit a listing to either of these calendars, just click the Submit a Listing. Calendar list and events submissions directions are right there for you. Or if you have additional questions, make sure to just contact us. Now back to the show. Do you know what? Sometimes I get like, well, I've been doing, but the other person isn't doing.
You have no control over what someone else does. But
Yes.
for me personally, when I caught him smoking on day 2, I thought, I already went 24 hours. I'm a non-smoker. I'm not going to be a smoker because he's a smoker. I'm a non-smoker. And I never have I smoked a cigarette since then. Not one, not ever. Had no desire. I gave it up. It's because I made a decision. And you hear about, I had a man tell me one time when somehow we got on the subject and I was telling him I help people quit smoking. And he goes, that's a good thing you do. He was real nice about it. He's real country. And he said, yeah, I used to smoke too. He goes, when they got to 50 cents a pack, I couldn't be taking that kind of money out of my family. He said, so I just quit. He goes, I never smoked another one either. But we
Oh,
all we get to that point, right? You just get to when, and we do that in life with lots of things. It's like when it's the last straw, right? It's it's your breaking point. It's just like when you make a decision. I've seen people do it. I've seen it happen right in front of me. Like when they say, like, if somebody does that to me one more time, I mean it, I'm done with them. And then it happens, they're done. I mean, there is no change in their mind. There's no turning back. They just drew that line in the sand, made people aware of it. And then when they did it, they was just like, okay. So if you make your mind up to do something, there's nothing that's going to stop you from attaining it.
I really like that the SMART acronym that you use because yeah, I mean I hit certain times when I've hit my last straw on something, but I physically cannot change the situation I'm in when I pulled that last straw, but I can take steps and plan out a time when it can be attainable in the future.
So it's not a question of whether you can or you can't. It's when.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I can't, but someday maybe. No, I can, but first I have to.
Yeah, taking out that someday maybe.
Or
Yeah.
just someday, right? Someday I can, but not today, right?
Right.
I can't do it today, but so you want to say it. It's like, but I can do this, but in order to do it, first I have to do this. So you just plot it out. And when I decided to go to Newton Institute, my husband had died, and then I looked into it, and I took pretty long classes. My classes were 210 hours each. So I had they were 110 hours each. So it's 220 hours to become a hypnotherapist and I had to go and stay in Houston. And anyway, I had to have a place to stay. So I stayed the first time I went, I stayed with my sister-in-law, and it was an hour and a half away. So each morning I drove an hour and a half to the class, and the class hours, because of how much time we had, were 10-hour classes, 10 hours. And then I drive home an hour and a half. So I did that every day for a week. Second time I went ahead and stayed at the hotel. I managed to be able to afford that. But I mean, I could have said, I can't afford to go there. No, I just stayed somewhere I had to drive 3 hours a day. It's all in your, it's like, what do you have to do to get between here and there? There is no. There's only, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I'm like a bulldog. I don't ever let go of stuff. I've just been like that all the time. It's like I plan to do it, and I can't do it this way, and I can't do it that way. Okay, which way can I do it? And so as soon as I figured out how I can, that's the next step. So when I signed up, when I wanted to take that class, it's like, well, you have to be a hypnotherapist first. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Then I found out I had to help people quit smoking, lose weight, deal with stress. And I was like, yeah, but I just wanted to do this life between lives stuff. This is like so
Yeah.
fun.
That wasn't really in your butt.
Yeah.
But you know what? It helps you. I like to say brings you down to the tangible being where you can open up the woo woo in a 3D world or whatever.
No, you're exactly right. And my teacher said, you're going to come to love this, and it's going to be your bread and butter anyway, right? So you have to have, so I have really like two parts of my business. So like my website's more real serious, lose weight, quit smoking, deal with stress stuff. But all my other stuff on Facebook, that's where the woo woo is. It's going to have its own website, but yeah, so learned how to do that. And I just sent him a thank you note when I finally finished my certification after 4 years, and said, you told me I was going to like helping people quit smoking, and you're right. It's wonderful because it's all kind of the same thing. It's a choice. It doesn't matter if it's smoking, eating healthy, getting moving, finishing that project, changing that job, that thing that you were wanting to do, writing a book. Oh my gosh, I've had several people that were going to write a book and haven't yet. And okay, so when do you start?
Yes.
Yes, like, so what day? If you give yourself a goal, I'll work on this an hour each day between 4 and 5. I mean, if it doesn't matter what it is you give it, it can be done and started today. You just have to focus on it, and it has to be measurable. Yeah, there's this thing here. I was going to talk about this, stacking your goals. You're 2 to 3 times more likely to stick to your goals if you make a specific plan for when, where, and how you will get this behavior done. So in one study, scientists asked people to fill out this sentence. During this next week, I will partake in at least, for example, 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on Wednesday at 3:00 at the office. So whatever it is, you have to be really specific. That's the S, right? For SMART, being specific.
Yeah.
So you do it, and then you write it down on your calendar. And then maybe you decide, well, I'm going to do it on Wednesdays and Fridays. You just give yourself 2 days, and it's 20 minutes each. So it's 40 minutes out of your entire week. So you stick with it. And even if you show up late, so you missed part of it, but you showed up anyway, you still got there. So it was always part of your day. And if somebody needed you to do something, you schedule it before or after.
Yeah.
So it's always a part of your day. So you're 2 to 3 times more likely if you'll like write it down and be specific, exactly what it is you're going to do, what day, and what time. And then you can also working with it, like they call it habit stacking. So after, let's see, so what would be the habit? So after not.
Oh, you're saying doing it a certain amount of times it'll become a habit? Is that what you're trying to say?
And then you stack it in here. It says we can schedule the time. Like if you want to meditate, after brewing my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. And that's why they tell you to start with 1 minute. People are like, I can't meditate. Well, how long do you try? So, or push-ups. Before I take my morning shower, I will do 10 push-ups. So it has a natural time slot, and it's easier to stick to.
Yeah.
After I set my toothbrush down, I will floss my teeth. Before I eat dinner, I will say one thing I am grateful for that day. We can all do these things. It's just being conscious and aware of doing them. Networking, those of us that do that, and we're out in sales and we meet people. After I return back from my lunch break, I will send one email to someone that I met. So you go to a luncheon, you should send them an email. Nice meeting you. Hope to see you at the next meeting, whatever. But anyway, so they're just calling it habit stacking, doing it and doing it together so that you have a specific goal.
Some of us are rebellious though, and we don't like to follow rules. And then look at and
do you like
to shamble?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you like to attain goals? Like, and the thing is you have to want You have to want something bad enough to be willing to give up whatever it's going to take. And truly, it usually ends up not being that hard. If you think back to a time in your life when you did something that you were really proud of, whether something you completed or did, maybe if it was education oriented, or it has something to do with your family, like people that get a house built, or you just did it, whatever, it doesn't matter what it was, something that was really a big effort, but you did it, and how good it felt. And when you get into the zone and you have made the decision that you're going to do something, it takes conscious effort the first few days or so, which is why you use any tool you can to help you. Vision boards are just that, a tool, whether you're going to use meditation to help you, whatever you're going to use. But after you've done it for so many consecutive days, you start to create a new habit. And they always say it's 21 days to a new habit, 3 weeks. So you do something for 21 straight days. Now that's your new habit. And it gets easier. It's just the way you do things.
Yeah.
So it's just a habit. They're all habits. So if you have some that are not contributing to your highest and greatest good, it's time to change them. And that's what resolutions and goal setting is all about. Being your best you,
Yes.
in your highest and greatest good. What's in the highest? And the thing is, it needs to be something you want to do, something you like, and something you would do anyway. The less painful you make it, the easier it is to stick to it. So it needs to have its own rewards built in too, so that it becomes the way you do things.
You mentioned writing a book and how that's just an example of, you putting in the time to do something. But then some people may be hesitant to start because of one, will I finish it? And two, what will be the reception to my book? The expectations of this finished product, like
The only person's opinion that matters is your own. Not everybody is going to like your book. That's for sure. Nobody, that is not your business or your concern. Do you like your book? If you like your book, it's good enough.
And I guess you can take that in any, that degree, that business you started, yeah.
It's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right. That I've lost weight. Not everybody's going to be receptive to the new me.
True.
Yeah. Because, all right. Well, the vision board workshop is January 28th and
Yes.
February 11th. You have 2 dates to choose from.
Mhm.
They can contact you again, text you for more information.
Yes.
And
601-503-5010. So that's the easiest way, is just text me, and then that way I can send you everything you need to do to get. And it's reserved, it's reserved seating.
Is there a deadline on registration, or?
There probably should be, but there's not. I am going to have some materials. Every time when I do a vision board session, people have cut out pictures and words. And the way we do it is you have way more material than you need, right? And then when we start building the boards, you pick from that material. And from that material, you put your plan into action. So there's 2 levels of where you're refining it down. Well, anyway, after your board is done, there's all these extra pictures and words and sayings. And so it's like, hey, if you don't want this, I collect it. So if you're doing your board and you're kind of stuck, like you got some good stuff, but I have these little trays you can go through that are from other people's extra pictures and words, and a lot of people have similar goals, so they'll be there's people like it, so I share them. I have 6 or 8 little trays I share the pictures with, and you build your own board with the tie it in. You may have this empty space and it just needs a great quote there or something.
Gotcha.
You might find exactly what you need. So, but I do have them, I have instructions. The sooner they contact me, the better, because there's instructions to prepare ahead.
Gotcha.
One, they may want to bring a picture of themselves to put on the board. Some people want to, like maybe they want to, like, for losing weight's an easy one. Like they want to lose 50 pounds and they have a picture of what they looked like 50 pounds ago. So we put that on the board. And they may want to. So some of the stuff I had on one of my boards was metaphysical. And depending on what magazines you have, you may not find any of that kind of stuff. So I just went online and picked stuff out. So like right here,
Yes.
it's a pendulum.
Gotcha.
So I knew that I was going to want that for a specific reason. And so I went and I Googled it ahead of time and I had it ready. So I did a few others. Oh, and some stuff on here too, because I wanted to be certified with the Newton Institute. And I'm telling it the wrong way. Yeah, right there. So I needed their logo. So I went online and got their logo.
Yes.
And so anyway, so I had to give people, it's like, so what does that look like to you? Yeah. A cool thing, I just now noticed it. Oh my gosh. So on my Newton Institute.
Yeah.
So on it, there's a picture of a bridge.
I was going to say the bridge.
Yeah. And I have the thing with the bridge. And if you look at my website, it's also a bridge. So I help connect you from one side of your, from one to the other. I help make the connection. But anyway, so the weekend I got that in the mail, I saw my real bridge for the first time. The one that inspired me. Oh my gosh. I gotta print a picture of that bridge and get it on a board.
You do. You do.
I gotta do it. Because I finally got to see my bridge. There's like a specific bridge that we all get symbols. We use metaphors, numbers, just things that mean something to us.
And I have, and on the bridge with you on it, there's a photo of it and it is on our website.
That's right. That's right. You do have it.
Metaphysicalmissms.com. If you go back, I'll probably link your previous interview.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Her
with my bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, my magic bridge. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Sherry, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. When I saw that vision board workshop come across, I'm like, oh, we've got to do it. We've got to talk about it.
Yeah. And it really doesn't matter what it is you want to do. If you set your mind to it, there is nothing that's going to stop you from achieving it. If you've decided you're going to do it, you either do it or you don't. I'm all about how can I make it happen? Because there's always a way. There's always a way. Right. Absolutely. Doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It only matters how many times you get back up.
How can we make it happen? I like that. 2023 is how can we make it happen? All right.
Do it.
Yes, do it. Okay, well, I think I'm going to say bye now.
Yeah, because I'll keep talking. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, well, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.